Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I'm currently on the way to Newbury. My car is very full. Yes, I'm moving flat as we speak. We're moving out of a flat, so yeah, that's why the car is ridiculously full. I can still see my wing mirrors for those that are going to have a go about that. Yeah, I'm quite excited for this trip. I'm talking with a guy called Andrew Venables and Ben Heath up in Newbury with the Field Sports channel. So they're quite unique in the fact that they only sell venison that's been shot with non-lead bullets. So taking the old trusty Browning X-Bolt up there and see what they wanted me to put through it, basically. Never shot with anything but lead. I have said in previous videos that whilst I'm for the lead ban in principle, it needs to be done right. We are, you know, sustaining the sport, we're sustaining the world, we're sustaining the, you know, we're all about conservation, so we've got to really push towards non-harmful substances. Unfortunately, lead it goes amongst those harmful substances. So yeah, anyway, exciting times, exciting trip. Heading up there now. Should be there in about 45 minutes, so that'll be good. Aim to get there, and I'll do as much film as I can. Obviously, you'll see the video on the Field Sports channel as well, but I'll get it out on mine. I'm not sure before or after, but it'll be nice to see. I'm not sure I'll be able to get you a shot, but we'll give it a go, and we'll hopefully get a couple of words from the guys about why they prefer to use non-lead and their reasons around it. But anyway, enjoy the video, and I'll see you when I get there. So up country today, like I said, with Andrew Venables, Ben Heath and Charlie from Field Sports channel. For the first time I'm testing out cob bullets, so really excited. I've been chatting to the guys this morning over a bit of breakfast. They went out first thing, and obviously I've been driving up all morning, so didn't quite make the morning stalk, but we'll go out this afternoon and the evening and hopefully get one. First of all, we're going to go down to the range, all the zeroing area, and just put a few through the gun, through my 308, see how it feels, see how it performs. It's currently 0 to 150 grain lead, Winchester I believe, factory loaded, because I'm not quite the skilled artist at reloading yet, but we're going to go put a few of these copper, are they 150 grain? I don't know. Anyway, we'll go put them through and go from there, but exciting. I'll let you know how it gets on, and hopefully after that, providing I shoot straight, we'll go out and hopefully get me in front of a deer and see how the bullet performs, and we might be able to recover the bullet from the animal as well, so fingers crossed. But
I'm pushing choice. I want shooting sports to be robust. I want us to go into the future with the best available materials and a choice of what we use in terms of guns, ammunition, scopes, whatever. And I've used lead all my life. I was shooting T2 rimfires when I was 7 or 8. Airgun pellets, whatever. I have no problem personally with lead, but if international food standards agencies are deciding that on the basis of modern scientific work, there is no lower safety limit for lead in food or in people or in children or in babies or embryos or whatever it is, we have to move with that. If we crash headlong into a lead ban, like a train wreck, it could take 2 or 3 years for shooting sports to recover from not being able to sell anything we shoot. That would be horrendous. All it's not about a lead ban. I don't want a lead ban actually, but I want the choice. Now my own personal choice is that having used these copper bullets for over 25 years and having seen them develop and improve and get to the stage they're at, I find them predictable. I like what they do. I like the way they shoot. I like the way they perform. I can plan my shots on animals in an anatomical, 3-dimensional sense, knowing I can post these where I want them. So I've switched. I still shoot some lead bullets. I still shoot a lot of target shooting ammunition. But if a lead ban's coming, wouldn't it be great to have done all the work first? So the people who wanted to choose these, choose them. The people who want to stick to lead, great, stick to lead. But if a ban's coming, and it's not to do with the antis, it's to do with science and food standard agencies around the world. If a ban's coming, we can, if we do the work on this, move seamlessly forwards without interruption and make the food that we produce even more marketable and even more acceptable to the great public. If we're forced down the only copper or the non-lead route, it's nice to know we can switch and the work's been done already. That's what I'm basically saying in a nutshell.
What we've recognised is that the consumption of venison in the UK is pretty low.
Yeah.
venison is low in cholesterol. It's actually got lower cholesterol than turkey and chicken. It's high in fatty acids. It's high in zinc, essential minerals. It's got numerous benefits from a health perspective. I actually like to call it the watercress of meat. And so it's massively misunderstood, and people think it's difficult to cook. They think it's strong flavoured.
And do you think that's part of the problem with venison, is people are afraid to potentially?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of fear, and there's also a lot of bad experiences. And you know, in terms of the working and the understanding of what we're doing, traditionally most male deer are shot in the rut, and you don't want to be harvesting male deer at that time of year. And it's when the meat is very strong, it's very intensely flavoured, you've got lots of testosterone pumping around the body, lots of adrenaline, and it's not good for carcass quality. And so the business partner that I have within Deerbox is a chef, Mike Robinson.
Brilliant.
He's passionate about game, he's passionate about cooking game, he's passionate
He's
about...
quite well known as well.
Yes, indeed, and you know,
his game.
Mike won the British Game Awards as Champion of Champions, and he has 2 fantastic restaurants. And so what we decided to do was rather than just accept that venison gets sold to game dealers, we wanted to create our own markets, we wanted to add value, and we want to show people how easy it is to cook venison, how venison can actually be a everyday regular food that's healthy, low carbon footprint, sustainable, good for the environment, works with nature, agriculture and farming.
Of course. So going on to ammunition, I was chatting to Andrew about the benefits of copper, which seems to be the natural replacement for the lead in rifles.
Side by side with standard lead high performance bullets, so not cheap lead bullets. And my personal experience of them is that they actually work as well, if not better.
Fantastic.
It's just been a change in mindset, because you have to understand the way that the bullets work and then alter your strategy and your thinking to make sure that they're actually working in the field.
Of course.
You can't just pick it up and just use it. You have to change your thinking, and then they really do work.
But on top of that, the benefits of lead-free obviously is because you're putting, you know, you're entering the food chain essentially, as this deer is then going on to enter the food chain.
Yes.
And lead is obviously well known not to be the best for consumption.
Well,
so therefore,
there are a few aspects actually. So you've got the food chain consumption basis with humans. Adults aren't so affected by lead, but young children are. And I've got a young family, and we eat venison 4 times a week, and so I'm very conscious about what I feed my children. The other massive sort of impact of using lead is, you know, not everybody wants to talk about it, but we shoot a deer in the field and we have the gut pile.
of course.
And normally that's often left out for nature. But the problem is that
Crows and the foxes and the
so
scavengers,
actually
and
what you're doing is you're contaminating that gut pile with lead. And I've seen in Germany x-rays of where the lead spreads from when hitting the deer, and the spread is 45 centimetres in diameter, in radius. So that's a 90 centimetre spread
throughout the green and everything.
in dust, in the meat as well. So you shoot a deer here, that will be contaminated.
You never have thought that would be.
And it's contaminated with the dust that you
bullets.
can't see,
Yeah,
which is actually the most digestible. And so the gut pile, the carcass, there are so many areas that are infected by it, and so we have a duty to the people we feed. As a person that harvests more than we could eat. A lot of my meat that we harvest goes into the food chain. So I have to be conscious of other people. Then I have to be conscious of the environment. And so it's really recognising that we do these things because we need to. It's part of management of the countryside. And then really looking forward to the future and saying, right, being proactive and wanting to do the best. It's looking for the most suitable alternatives.
So are you this lead ban that's been sort of rattled around as a sort of a taboo word? Are you in the ban category, or are you for more letting people decide what they want to do?
I don't think that a ban is any way the right way to go. The science is there. we can make our own decisions. As somebody that's harvesting on a commercial basis, and not just for myself, then I think it's the way forward.
Of course.
If somebody wishes to use a lead bullet and consume their own food, then that's entirely their decision, and I don't think it needs to be.
But if you think they're going to necessarily go more commercial, then they should consider the negatives.
I will stand in with both feet and probably get shot down for it, but I actually think it should be mandatory.
Yeah.
I.e., I should not dictate to somebody else, or they should have the choice. If do we really want to then start having venison package that says this deer has been shot with a lead bullet, this deer has been shot with a lead-free bullet? I think if all meat is to go into the food chain, we have a responsibility with the science and knowledge that we know to be using non-toxic ammunition.
So we're up on the makeshift range, just about to shoot a couple of targets with, first I'm going to use my factory loaded Winchester 150 grain Power Max, and then I'm going to try out some copper bullets, so quite excited to give that a go, and then make sure that's shooting straight. Once we know that's all shooting straight, we'll then head off and aim for something slightly more alive.
So yeah, tell me what's going on. What are you up to?
We've just tried the my regular bullets, which are the Winchester factory loaded, and they were shooting pretty much as we expect. The rifle was pretty well held at zero from the travel. So then we moved on to Andrew's Magic copper bullets, and we shot the near MUNTJAC first, and that was it's only 40 yards away, so that was pretty much straight down the pipe. And then the longer one, the first bullet was where we expected it to be, in the middle, but then the next two were slightly higher, so I think I might have pulled the first bullet, and so then we shot at the target, and sure enough they were both high. Right, so just put two more bullets down range after the zero, and pretty pleased with the outcome. Two bullets basically through the same hole at the MUNTJAC target. Aimed slightly low right centre, and put them exactly where I aimed, so yeah, pretty happy with that. And to be honest with you, I'm if the copper bullets are on the market, I don't see what the difference is personally. It'd be interesting to see how, obviously, we're now going to go for a hunt, take an animal, which is obviously a different kettle of fish altogether than the target, but this metal MUNTJAC here probably wouldn't have walked away from it, I'll tell you that. So we wait and see. So we've just got off the range from just checking the zero of the gun. We initially put some of my lead bullets through it, and they were shooting as expected. And then we went off and with the copper string tangent, if you like, that Mr. Venables brought for us, and I put 5 bullets through. The first one I fired at the long range MUNTJAC went straight in the middle, which was a lovely surprise, I'm sure, for everybody. But then the next two, which I felt were better shots, was slightly high. So I think we then put it at the target. Sure enough, we were shooting slightly high, which indicates that the bullet was coming out slightly hotter than the lead. So we then re-zeroed it down a couple of inches, and good as gold. Now we're out here on the live stuff, if you like. We're just sort of waiting, having a quick cup of tea, and regathering ourselves. We are going after a muntjac again, thin-skinned, relatively small deer. The 130 grain copper is what we're using. So fingers crossed it does the job and there should be no dramas. I'll get into this clearing here and that's the only chance of shot.
When you call muntjacking in this environment, it is very much snap shooting.
Yeah,
and
it's completely different stalking to anything I've ever done before.
Yeah.
That's that calling and then.
But it's intense.
It is so intense. I mean, for editing purposes, there literally is start calling, they start coming. There's no break.
It varies. I mean, yesterday I obviously took Andrew out for a little jaunt, and we called a muntjac buck in, and that took a good 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And he just was very slow and very cautious and just edging, and you just had to tease him. Was that a doe?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they normally come a bit more progressively.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can stand there and bark, and sometimes you can hold them. So they'll actually be barking at you, and you can literally hold them and wait for them to get into the right position. And it's just having the nerve to wait and persist. But anyway, well done. We can't shake hands, sorry. Just.
Oh yeah. I mean, but I think lead bullets, lead as a whole needs to be filtered out. It's I don't think, interesting talking to Ben, he was saying the word ban is too strong. I don't think ban necessarily is, I think people need to be introduced to these ideas and make their own minds. So I was introduced this morning and I've got five or six bullets so far, and as far as I'm concerned, they're performing brilliantly. So far, so good. So my first impressions is ticking all the boxes. Lead is, historically it works. It hasn't killed too many people. Well, that's actually a lie, isn't it? Lead has killed a lot of people. Indirectly, I'm saying. So, it hasn't lead poisoning or anything like that. But it is something we do need to make a conscious effort to really move away from, I think. It's the same old thing. You're more likely to get hit on the head by a coconut than get killed by a shark. It's which way you look at it. And I suppose that, I think it's just, with the constant drive towards being greener as a whole community, let alone shooting, being greener, being better for the environment, I think that shooting needs to show proactive, needs to be shown to be proactive, not be forced by government policy. I think we need to go out there and say, actually, no guys, we need to show ourselves being proactive, going out there, being better, being greener, being better for the environment, as opposed to being told off by the government saying, you can't do this, you can't do that. Like with waterfowl, the lead poisoning with waterfowl, that was, we didn't do that ourselves. We were told to do that, we had to do it. So I think being proactive will paint the whole community in a much better light than just perhaps being forced to do it. To be honest with you, I think bullet ballistics, for some of my age, I might be wrong, but certainly the people I've met in my generation, we don't have long-ended, winded conversations about how our bullets perform and the various spin rates and all sorts. As far as I'm concerned, and a lot of my friends that I stalk with are concerned, as long as a bullet does the job, that's the most important thing. It's the end result which matters. And if you're shooting targets long range out to silly distances, then yeah, sure, the spin rate at X RPM might be slightly different to a lead bullet, or the speed might be slightly wrong. But for me, it's between 100 and 200 meters, shooting a roebuck or shooting a red stag, will it put it on the floor? Yes, box ticked.